Travelhourljm fam, what's good, y'all? We back with another episode. It's another week, and we doing great. I hope y'all doing well out there, and I hope y'all surviving this snowstorm that's going on. So today I'm joining solo, just me, Jock, but my boy Matt will be back soon. However, there's been a lot going on this week, and I wanted to really just tap in and let y'all know what in the world, as we call it. We ain't did it in a while, but I want to talk a little bit about that and what's been going on in the world. So yeah, we know the snowstorm hit. I got family up in Ohio, and they were calling me saying, "Hey, like the snowstorm is coming." But then I also heard that the snowstorm was also going to hit the South as well. And so, all my people in Georgia, Mississippi, and Texas, and Louisiana, I hope y'all being safe and y'all ain't eat all them snacks up. But it looks like a lot of folks got hit with a lot of snow and a lot of inclement weather. It was the crazy ordeal. And, growing up top was one of those things where, I'm used to lake effect snow, grew up in the snow belt. And so we were already prepared for that. We got snow trucks and plows and things. But for the states down south, man, I know y'all be needing help. And so the biggest thing is that even if the storm is coming or not, we don't know. Just make sure y'all prepared and hopefully y'all staying safe. But I got to spend the week in Mexico and also in Guatemala, so I was safe and sound and far away from anything like snow. But I did see some crazy weather. Now, look, there's a couple of things going on in the world. I know it's been a crazy time, and it seems like every time I leave the country, there's just some crazy stuff that goes down. I won't even say crazy because I really want to take the opportunity to normalize what happens in the States. And so being political, as people may call it, right, I think is a duty on all of us to make sure that we are really taking the time to understand what's going on around us in the world because it affects everyone, whether it be travel, whether it be politics, whether it be sports, whether it be entertainment. These things have a trickle down effect. And so we saw what happened in Minnesota. And it's crazy because Minnesota's been going through a lot, y'all. We go back to the pandemic with George Floyd, who was killed by the police. And then we fast forward to the young woman who was killed by ICE a couple weeks ago. And now a 37-year-old man has been killed by ICE. And so with that being said, those are three people that have lost their life to law enforcement. But the thing about it is that ICE agents have killed over 30 people. And there hasn't been that much coverage about it. And so with that being said, we got to stand for something or we'll fall for anything, as my grandmother used to say. And to be real about it, it ain't cool. And I'm really concerned. I don't really know how to feel after being out to the United States and hearing the news from a place where I wasn't in it. I'm kind of taken back because I do feel some type of way where one, we want to acknowledge that a life was lost and that's not okay. When somebody loses their life, that means somebody's not coming home. That means somebody's son's not coming home, right? A husband or a father's not coming home. Somebody's got to explain to the people's family members why that they're not coming home. And the biggest thing right now is that the government is not giving people the opportunity to even ask those questions by giving a fair investigation. And that's one thing that Black people have always dealt with. And so it's always affected how I move throughout the world. As a Black person, I don't have certain privileges, right? And even at home, in the land of where everybody says we live in one of the strongest economies, it always boils down to one of those things where if I ever get pulled over in the US, I'm always at fear for my life. I've always been taught how to move with police since I was a little boy. Those are the speeches that have to be given. At the end of the day, that's one of the reasons why I decided to, go off and live this nomadic lifestyle and go see different countries and see different cultures. Because one thing I can say is the biggest thing about being out in the US, y'all, is that you just don't feel as me. I don't feel as a Black man, the constant overwatch, the constant over policing of me. I don't feel like somebody's always watching my back. Or if I do come in an encounter with police, will this be my last encounter? And so I do appreciate having that freedom to move and being out of the country. But I also know that I have to do my part for the people that are in the country and for the people that are coming behind me, right? And so there are some things we can do, y'all. I know people always say this may sound corny and lame, but we can definitely get out there and vote. There's a serious midterm election coming up that has serious implications about it, where things can be changed. Also, too, like local governments where everything starts at. So it's not just the national or federal government as well, but your state and local city governments as well who make decisions for us on our everyday behalf. We need more people who look like us and are doing the work so that we can have a safer place to grow up in. And so my grandma is from Selma, Alabama, was raised in New York. She pretty much seen it all. She went from, the Jim Crow South to being up in New York and being in a melting pot, right? And so she taught me so much about how understanding that, hey, like the civil rights movement went too long ago. And the things that are happening now with this administration and things are being turned back, it's some of the same things that they were dealing with back then. And so we can't just sit around and let things happen to us. We got to get out there and vote and do our due part. And the other thing too is we can stop supporting some of these organizations that are supporting ICE, right? We heard that Lowe's has been a supporter and let ICE come in and do raids in their parking lots. And that's not cool. And we're not going to stand for it at the Travel Hour. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, and hopefully, not even hopefully, but we got to do the things we need to do so that we can see the change that needs to be done, and we don't get it done, y'all. I believe in us. With that being said, y'all, there also is some issues going on around the world. I know the travel bans in Venezuela have severely impacted how we move around the world. And not just from a vacation standpoint, but how people are moving around this globe. There's a thing called passport privilege, y'all, and it's so real. You know, some folks with the passport can pretty much go anywhere in the world that they want to. And then some folks who have other passports from developing countries have to go through hurdles, hurdles, y'all, and they got to jump hoops to get into countries or move around. And it's not just for vacation, but there's students that have visas that they need to get to school and get their training. You have families that are depending on these certain visas to be approved so they can be reunited. And at this point, all we have seen is things have been more and more and more separative. Even if that's a word, I don't even know, y'all. But things have been separated. We're pushing people out, we're pushing people away. And at the end of the day, that's not good for us. And it's not good for how we move around the world. And so that's something that's super important to keep an eye on. I know last time I checked, we were at, I think, over 50 countries on the travel ban list. And it seems like that might grow. And at the rate we going, like it may not be no dirty December because Nigeria pissed off with us. So we're going to figure it out. But right now, it's really a clusterfuck, y'all. And so we got to do our part. At the end of the day, I'm excited for what's to come because at the end of the day, change has to come, and I know it will. But I ain't come here to preach y'all. I just wanted to let y'all know what's going on in the world. By the way, Southwest, I just took my last Southwest flight before they did the new seating policy, and I don't know how to feel about it. So back in December, I flew out Southwest, and I knew that was going to be my last Southwest flight before they went over and switched the policy. So now Southwest is making changes with their policy. And what they're doing is there's no more open seating. So the A, B, and C, A1 through 30 is now gone, y'all. Crazy, right? And so there will be assigned seating like the other major airlines, which I don't know how to feel about that, y'all. Travelhourljm, I just don't know how to feel about it. I did like that about Southwest because as a tall person, I'm 6'5", I'm over 300 pounds. If I can fly Southwest, like there's a good chance, like if I get in that first, A group, that I can get a chance at the exit row seat and sit there. And that's dope for me because I get to stretch out my legs. I'm not hurting when I get off the flight. And it's more comfortable for big people. So I wonder how that's going to work. Now you just got to flat out pay for the exit row. And so people are going to get their coins, I guess. But we're going to see how it works out. One thing I always laugh about those because, like Southwest, they're gonna herd cattle when they're boarding. So the herding of cattle is now over with Southwest, but we'll see. Stay tuned and see how this works out. In the meantime, your boy actually scored a free flight pretty much down to Guatemala out of Houston, Texas. And so I do have a Go Wild pass with Frontier. And so basically you sign up for the pass. I think I paid $349 for the year. Don't quote me on that. It might have been a little bit higher. And then what happened was I get to fly for free for the year where there are available flights. And so far, it's been pretty good. I will say that the Go Wild Frontier Pass works great when you live in an airport that either is a hub or a place where Frontier has multiple flights going out. And so I do live near Houston, so I was able to utilize the pass over the last couple of years, and it's really paid for itself and some. And so my latest adventure came for me going to Guatemala, y'all. So last year, I wanted to get down to Guatemala. I was in Mexico doing my residency paperwork, and I was like, after this, after I get my paperwork straight, I'm gonna shoot down to Guatemala. I had a homie that just went down there. They had hiked the volcano and everything, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And so the timing last year just didn't work out. So I was like, cool, it'll happen again. And so coming back, I reached out to one of the homies that was going down there, and just so happened to find out that they were actually going to Guatemala. I was thinking about going that same weekend too. And so it's like, you know what? Let me go ahead and look at the flight and book it. So I looked up the flight on my Frontier Go Wild Pass, $0 for the flight. All I had to do was pay the taxes and fees, and that came out to $34. So shout out to Frontier to Go Wild Pass. And no, they're not paying me, but Frontier, if you hear this, tap in with the travel hour because I love to Go Wild Pass. Anyways, I get to Houston. We got a Saturday flight. It leaves at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's under 2 hours. Super, super chill. Hop on the flight. There's about 30 people on the flight, so we get to move around. And shout out to the staff at that Frontier flight because they were just amazing. Like, they were, really helpful. They were greeting people, and there were a lot of Guatemalans on the flight too as well. And so even though the entire staff did not know Spanish, they were still very helpful to folks who were speaking Spanish, and I do appreciate that. So we get ready to roll out to Guatemala, and as we're flying about halfway through the flight attendant lets us know that he's going to check with the captain and say, let us know when we'll see the volcanoes when we're actually landing in Guatemala City. And so I was like halfway asleep, nodding off. But I'm like, when I heard that, I woke up like, oh, okay. Like I need to see this. So let me, wipe off the screen and get this camera ready because I need to get this footage. And, I sat back and about 30 minutes later they came off. They was like, hey, if you guys want to move to a window seat so you can see the volcano, go ahead. We'll probably be passing in the next 10 minutes. So I went ahead and sat in the seat and I opened up the window shade. And of course, like it's early in the morning, so the sun's coming up and you just see the sun coming over the volcanoes in the mountains. And you see like Guatemala City under us. And it's just beautiful. I did not expect it to be that beautiful, but it was just naturally beautiful. And so after that, we shortly landed. I got to Guatemala, and this is my first time going there. In Guatemala, I really didn't know what to expect because I had not been there, but I did my research on YouTube. I saw some of the content that was being posted on IG. And I also, went to good old chat to see what was going on. And so some of the things I heard, that Guatemala was in Central America and that, excuse me, there's a lot of different things to do in Guatemala. So if you want to do outdoor stuff, they definitely got that with the hiking and the trails. And then if you want to do like good food, like Guatemala definitely has that as well, being in Central America. And so my destination was once I landed in Guatemala City, I then took a hour and a half shuttle up to Antigua, which is a cool little town up in the mountains. And that's pretty much where a lot of folks go who want to hike the volcanoes. So when I pulled up to Antigua, it was real cool, like old colonial style architecture. You got the cobblestone streets with the famous square in the middle. The colonizers, what they're always gonna do is build a square and put a damn church in the middle of that square and plant a flag. So a lot of times when you go to like these places in Latin America, there's always gonna be like a town square with maybe like some government buildings, a big flag, and a church. And it's always interesting to see how they built those churches because the architecture is amazing. And I guess they put a lot of money into Jesus to colonize folks. But definitely always like just try to go peek my head in when I see it. So after getting Guatemala City, I'm like, okay, like vibes are good. It's real chill. It's beautiful. And the people are really, really, really nice. That's one thing that stuck out to me. People are very helpful. And, I speak a little Spanglish, y'all. So I was moving around, but I was very surprised at how many people knew English there. Even when I was trying to use my Spanish, like they would switch over to English. So I'm like, yo, like slow down. Come on, primo. Like, let me use the Spanish. I'm trying to put it to work, baby. Let me work. So was very surprised to see that. Travel our film. If you ever are in a country where you don't speak the language and you're struggling, you always can use like translators on your phones and things like that. But sometimes you don't have time to do that in the moment. One thing I will tell you to do is try to find somebody who's younger because a lot of time kids are going to know a different English because they're on different apps like social media, like TikTok and Instagram, and Twitter and stuff like that. So if you're ever in a bind, like look for somebody or, maybe like a millennial or someone. Social media has really like shrunk how big the world is. And so you will find a lot of folks like you'll talk to them like, well, how'd you pick up English? Like a little bit in school, and then I like learn from watching movies or being like on social media. So just a tidbit. But anyways, like Guatemala was vibes, y'all. We had a really, really good time. I got to meet up with one of the homies on the first night. And so we went out and grabbed some dinner at a really, really like dope Bohemian fusion restaurant. So it was a fusion restaurant with like Guatemalan food and Asian food, which was crazy. So I'm looking at the reviews on Google Maps and it's really got 5-star reviews across the board. So at first I'm like, come on, bro, like 5 stars. Let me see how many comments they got. Look at the comments. On the comments, there's over like 65 plus comments and all of them are over 5 stars. So I'm like, okay, this is legit. So me and the homie end up meeting there for dinner. I walk in and it's a vibe. In the front, there's a cool shop where you can buy different stuff. Like they have like chakras, they have different stones, they have incense, anything you could pretty much think of as like a storefront. And then I walk through the storefront to the back where it opened up into this cool garden. And so I'll go through the garden, and in the garden is real chill. They got the music playing, they got the lights low, they got a nice little cocktail bar to the side, and they have the tables for you to sit at in the middle area of this courtyard that they built. And so I'm sitting there chilling. I'm looking at the menu because at this point, your boy is famished from a long day of travel. I'm ready to eat. And then the homie is running a little behind. So I'm looking at the menu to scan to see what we can get because as soon as they sit down, we about to eat. You feel me? So get the menu. Everything looks great. They have a fried shrimp dish over cabbage with like a spicy chili sauce. They're telling us that everything is farm to table. So everything that we eat at the restaurant is grown locally. And so it was cashew season out there. So they had a lot of different dishes with like cashews and stuff. And we also, what else did we try? We tried the wings. So they had these wings and this sauce, and they compared it to similar to like a sweeter version of like a jerk sauce almost. And they tossed the wings in that. Child, the things was fire. So we had the wings, we had this fried shrimp, which was great. And then we ordered some other things off the menu, but I can't remember because we ate so much. And then of course we had to try the local beer. And so there was two local beers that they recommended to us. I think one of them was Gallo, and the beer was really, really crisp and refreshing. It wasn't too heavy. Kind of reminded me of some of the beer in Brazil. And so that was a really good first night experience as far as eating. After that, I had the opportunity to go over and check out where I was staying at. And so I decided to stay in a hostel in Antigua. And so I know we always talk about hostels, and there's always like this thing where folks be like, man, I don't know about staying in a hostel. I don't watch the movies, bruh. I don't know about the cleanliness. I don't want to be around all the people or whatever. And so what I'll say about a hostel is they're not created equally. So when you're staying in a hostel, one thing about it is that you have to do your research when you're staying in a hostel. And one of the ways to do that is you can check on Reddit, like the homie Brandon mentioned before. You can listen to that episode. We shot that a couple seasons ago. You can also check out Hostel World, or you can do Google reviews and see what people are saying about the actual hostel itself, whether it be cleanliness, what things are they including, like maybe water? Are they including things like food, breakfast? And also, too, what's the scope on the room setup, right? Some hostels may have private rooms available, and then other hostels may not have private rooms that it may just be all dorm style. So you need to look into that. If you're a person that needs your space, then I recommend, hey, like look up the hostel and see if they have like private room availability. If they do, then compare that to what it would cost you a nightly stay for a hotel or like an Airbnb. And then from there, you make your decision. Now, one thing I do like about hostels is it gives you a chance to be social and also be antisocial at the same time. So usually what I do is when I get to the hostel, I'll book a private room for those first couple of days, and then I'll figure out if I want to stay there or if I want to move to like a different rooming situation. So the spot I stayed at in Antigua was called San Sebastian, and it was cool. The reason why I booked it was because it included a shuttle from the airport to the hostel to Antigua, which is about an hour and a half drive. So all I had to do was just pay them. They knew where they were going. That was an easy transaction. And so I paid about $30 USD to get from Guatemala City up into Antigua. Now, my driver, but that boy was driving like he was a NASCAR because he was bending corners and he was hitting it. I did something like tranquilo, primo tranquilo, like slow down a little bit. But we got there safely. And once I got there, the hostel was really, really dope. It was an old colonial home that was converted into a hostel. So you walk in the front and there's this huge courtyard. And then on the left side of the courtyard, they had these capsule bunk areas. They had like 4 capsules per room, and you can see those capsules on the side. And then they also had a second level, which was also shared rooms, and they had capsules and bunk beds in there. And then if you walk straight through, there was a kitchen area, the showers areas, and the shower areas were pretty clean. And as you walk through that, there's a garden in the back. And in the garden, they had these like little glamping tents, and they're like little igloo domes. And so I rented one of those. It cost me about $30 a night. It was really cool and peaceful back there. Like there wasn't a lot of noise. There was only a few of us back there. So I did like that part about it. And then if I wanted to, I can go to the common areas, which I did like in the daytime. I would go work on stuff for the travel hour or just get my work done. And that was cool. The internet was solid. One thing I will say though is that your boy made a mistake, and it's cool. We live and we learn. So as I'm coming up there, I'm like, cool. Like the igloo joints look dope. They have power. Let's do it. So I get into my room. I checked in. I'm getting all situated and stuff. I look over at what I think is a heater, and the heater is not a heater as I'm getting ready to go to bed, y'all. The heater is actually a damn fan. So I plugged it up. I'm like, why is blowing out cold air? Lo and behold, y'all, I was like, yeah. See, the temperature drops at night when the sun goes down in Nicaragua. Not Nicaragua, y'all, but in Antigua, when the temperature drops at night, it gets chilly. It could be 80 degrees during the daytime, you're sweating and stuff like that. And then at nighttime, it might drop down to the 40s. And your boy found out that fan was not a heater, and it was cold that night, Willie. It got cold, and so that would be my only complaint about staying there was that they had blankets on the bed. They had some pretty thick blankets. I put on my whole sweatsuit and went to sleep. Now, when I woke up in the morning, different story. Once the sun comes up, it starts warming up. It feels really, really good. But at nighttime, it did get cold. So that's the only complaint I had about that Hostel San Sebastian up in Antigua. I appreciate y'all. And then, as well as my stay there, one of the things about staying there that I did like was that I was able to book my excursion, which was hiking the volcano Acatenango. And that's the whole reason why I came there, because I came to see and conquer. And so I was able to book that through them. I think I paid about a little under $40 USD. And so that did include transport to and from the volcano. It also included my meals. And then it also included some hiking gear if I wanted to rent that from them for an extra charge. So since it was a last minute trip and I didn't want to like do a lot of planning, it was really, really easy to book with the hostel because they had everything ready for me. And so I do appreciate that. Now, let me tell y'all something. I went up there to hike that mountain. Your boy went up there to hike that mountain, but that mountain hiked me. And when I tell you, travel out, boy, it got real. It got really real. So story time. So as I'm getting to the hostel, it was a little wait for me to check in. I was there a little early before check-in time, so I went and hung out, sat my bags down, and I was in the common area. I overheard some dude from the UK was on the phone talking about the hike because he had just did the volcano hike the day before me, and he's in pretty good shape. You know, he's already saying that he's hiking. I'm eavesdropping now. I'm like, okay, let me listen in. And he starts talking about how grueling it was, how hard it was. And I'm like, okay. So he says, I can't feel my legs. I'm going to get a massage immediately. The views were amazing, but it's the most grueling thing I've ever done. So I'm sitting there looking like, okay, Jock, you work out about 6, 7 days a week, 5 on a bad week. You've been on that Stairmaster. You lost 30 pounds last year too, bro. You know, you're doing pretty good. You look good. You feel me? But your boy got humbled because it was not easy. It was probably one of the hardest things I ever did. So as I'm hearing go through this conversation in my head, I'm like, what in the hell did I just sign myself up for? So I got one more day because I fly in on Saturday. Sunday is a chill day, but we ended up going up to Hobbitanego, which is like this Hobbit amusement park on a mountain in Antigua, about 20 minutes ride uphill. And so it was pretty cool because it looks just like something out of The Hobbit. They got the small houses, they got different things you can do. That's where you'll see the famous hand that's kind of shaped like this. We go out and take pictures on it. So we pulled up over there. You know, we got some good pictures. We met some cool people while standing in line waiting to take photos. And then we walked around the park. Now, while your boy was up there, and you can buy food and stuff as well, you can buy drinks, even get a massage up there. It's cool. Now, as I'm walking around, your boy kind of winded. So I told the homies, like, y'all go ahead. I'm just chill down here for a little bit. But I was hurting. I was over like, can't catch my breath a little bit. I ain't did that much walking. So I knew then that altitude was probably going to hit your boy. And so as I'm coming down Hobbitanego on Sunday, I'm like, okay, cool. On Monday, Martin Luther King Day, I got to get up bright and early and take my ass up this mountain. And I'm going to do it because I committed to do it. So I was like, cool. We went in and got some dinner, had some local Guatemalan cuisine, which was fire. And actually the restaurant I went to was right there by the arches that everybody takes pictures at. And I saw my dude, Bill Clinton, right there that had visited when he was there. And so I ate the food. And I was like, you know, I had a traditional dish. And so I'm like, you know what? Like I'm just channeling all this spirits from the ancestors, y'all, to get all this good meal in me and carb load before I go up this hill. Because I need all the help I can get. And so after finishing my meal, you know, I went and got my meds, got my, what else I get, Jock? Oh, I went and got some of the electrolyte packets and things like that, things I needed, protein bar, all that good stuff. So I'm prepared. And also, too, I have brought my stuff as well. So I brought some of my ski gear, which is my cold gear, a base layer that I can wear underneath, keep me warm and insulated. And then I also brought like some comfortable shoes. And then I brought like one change of clothes. So I get back to the room. I'm getting everything situated. I'm packing my bag. I packed really light so that, you know, I knew we would get tired. And so I was like, look, the lighter I pack, the better off I am. So I was able to pack my stuff. I'm ready to roll. It's almost like I hop into bed, I'm ready, waiting on the first day of school. And so I wake up the next morning, the hospital provides a free pancake breakfast, and them pancakes was fire. Lord. And then the syrup was so good, it was almost like honey. It wasn't too sweet, but it was sweet enough. And then you know when they make the pancake and it's got that little edge, a little crisp edge on it, you just bite into it, that thing just melt in your mouth. Yeah, that part. Feeling good. I done ate my pancakes and got my fruit in me. I'm hydrated. I done drank my water. So I'm sitting at the front with some people I met from the hospital that are doing the hike with us. And so I think they're from the UK and Canada. It's two ladies and a guy from France that was there too. So we chopping it up. Now, mind you, out of this group of 4, I'm the only black person. All right, cool. So they're like, yeah, like we hike all the time. Like we're looking forward to it. We heard it's really hard. All right, bet. So we're just chopping it up, talking about different stuff. I'm shooting the casual. So finally, like our driver comes, picks us up. We walk out to the bus. I'm like, it's game time, you know. So head over to the bus and we meet other people that they picked up from other hostels in the area. So we hop in this bus. I get my big ass in the bus as I'm trying to like squeeze in there. It look like Norbert trying to get into a damn car because it's tight. And Guatemalans they're very short people by nature. I hop in there, I bust my head, and that dude told me to get in the front seat. So you got to climb over to get to the front seat. So I climbed over and got in, and I looked back. I said, damn, bro, I'm the only black person. This is about to be funny. So I told everybody, I said, hey, y'all, what's up? If I don't make it to the top of this volcano, y'all just roll my body back down so they can have a proper service. And everybody started laughing. We rolled out. We first made a stop at a store before we went up the hill or the mountain. And so we was able to stop there, use the bathroom. That's where they gave us like our hiking sticks, our jackets, coats, and hats. And then also took me to get anything from the store. You could go in the store and get your stuff. So we out there, it's about a group of 30 of us, we ready to roll. And I'm just like, talking to different people and trying to get their opinions on just gauging like where you at, how you feeling. And most folks are just being real, playing it cool with like the Tom Brady after the game, press answers. Yeah, you know, it's going to be challenging, but I'm looking forward to it. So I'm like, all right, bet. So we ride. I'm in the front seat. The views are amazing going up. It's about 45 minutes to an hour to ride up to the base. And we just winding through on this chicken bus, hitting the corner, swerving. I'm like, Lord have mercy. And we finally get to the base. We hop out. The wind is blowing. Everybody looking around like, boy, bundle up. So everybody start putting on their stuff, their jackets, hats, and coats. And so they wrangle us all up and we start hiking. Now, this hike, they say takes about 4 to 6 hours going up to get there. It's about 15,000 feet up, and it's about 38 or 3,800 meters up. And about 95% of this hike is straight up. Like, ain't no breaks. So, I heard that about the research part. I've heard people say it was challenging, but we hop on the trail and we going up. I'm talking about the first 20 minutes. I'm walking up. I'm like, boy, this ain't no joke. Can I turn around now? Then I start seeing people coming down the hill from the hike. And you just see it on their faces. They look miserable. I seen one of my good sisters, so I try to give her the head nod, and she just looked at me like, just gave me a head shake, like, baby, I ain't gonna make it. And I'm like, dang, but she coming down. Little did I know what I was getting myself into. So during the hike, it's like I said, it's 4 to 6 hours to ascend to the summit or base camp where you camp out for the night. Along the way, you got about 5, maybe 6 stops, depending on how the group is moving. So the first leg, that first 30, 40 minutes, we going up, it's straight up. I'm like, oh, and it's hot. Now we done got hot because the sun is right on us and you got all our stuff on. So people start, shedding layers, like take the hat off, take the gloves off, take that jacket off, wrap it around my waist, right? We get to the first checkpoint and I'm just like, yeah, we only like 35 minutes in and boy, it's real out here. So I just sit down, I'm like, yo, you got to take your time, bro. You got to hydrate. Let's keep going. So we started hiking again. Now we didn't hit the corner and we on some steps, some man-made steps in the middle of a mountain going up. And as I'm turning around, I was looking to see like how high we are and we are up there. So it gets grueling. Like it doesn't get any easier as we're going and it just keeps getting harder and harder. The terrain keeps changing. One point is gravelly and sand and you sinking, you taking 2 steps and flying back one. Then the next minute you're going up these steps and they steep, your legs is burning, everything on fire. Then you hot, you sweating and you can't catch your breath. So as we get into it, my group could quickly start to separate. So the third of the group or maybe half of the group is like up ahead. I'm in the middle and there's like another group behind me and I'm trying to stay in the middle. So by the time we get to the second checkpoint, I am done. Like, I cannot breathe. Now, I did take my elevation medicine before we hopped on. And then also, too, the doctor told me, like, hey, if you start feeling symptoms while you're into the hike, go ahead and pop another pill. So I take another pill, I'm hydrating, and we end up stopping. Like, at this point, down towards the back as we're going. And we get to about the middle checkpoint, and I'm over there up that mountain. This might be the hardest thing, like, I ever done. And we only not even like halfway there. And just to tell you like what your boy was going through, imagine carrying 15 pounds on your back. It's hot, you sweating, you tired, your legs is burning. But then you take 10 steps and you feel like you're having a heart attack and you're trying to catch your breath and muster up some strength. But it feels like a 300-pound person is standing on your chest while you're trying to breathe. I know y'all might have saw that Instagram video, like no joke, you felt the pain in my voice. I don't know how many times I just wanted to turn around. So after we leave this halfway checkpoint, we done ate our lunch. I got a little bit of strength back. But as I'm going up the hill, I'm just struggling. It's getting worse and worse. I'm lightheaded. I'm fatigued. And so as we were sitting down for lunch, one of the people that was in the back with me, she pulled out this little paper and it was, I guess, a test or a gauge to see how bad your elevator sickness was. So she asked me like a whole bunch of questions like, hey, like, do you have a headache? I'm like, yeah. She was like, do you have like dry mouth? I'm like, yeah. She was like, do you feel super tired? I'm like, yeah, I feel like I can go to sleep right now. You feel lightheaded or dizzy? I'm like, hell yeah. She was like, yeah. based on the test, you have severe elevation sickness. You shouldn't be up. You should go back down. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm about to drink this water, drink these electrolytes, eat this pollo, but your boy gonna keep on going. So as we're going, we left for lunch. Left lunch. It don't get no easier. So it's getting even steeper. So I'm in there just step by step, and I really just had to dig deep. And I had to make it up to my mind, in my mind, to say I'm not going to go back down. I can't quit. I can't turn around. But I had to dig for that. So we're moving pretty slow at this point. You know, it's about a few of us in the back. And so one of the guys stayed back with us, but he's also like rushing us too at the same time because he wants us to make it up there before the sun goes down. So mind you, we started hiking around 12 noon, maybe 11 something, and the sun's probably going to set around 6. So once it gets dark, you really can't see anything, and it's going to be that much harder. Now, what pissed me off though was little Primo was behind me, and he's just back there with a 40, 50-pound book bag. He's chilling. He's playing games on his phone. That boy got snacks. He having a good old time. I'm just like, oh, you used to this, huh? In my head, because at this point I'm so damn tired, I can't even talk. Then he even asked me, like, hey, do you know Spanish? I said, un poquito. Boy, I done forgot every word of Spanish because I'm so damn tired. So he's talking to me in Spanish, trying to tell me to hurry up. And I'm just like, bro, it's in one ear and out the other. I cannot breathe. I'm hurting. My legs is gone. Like, I've never felt any pain like this in my life. And I'm a former college athlete. I don't know if I can do this. So thank God to the homies that was back there with us. They were encouraging me and I was encouraging them. And so we finally got about 3/4 of the way up the volcano. And we were at a rest point. And at that point, I felt like when I sat down, that I could really close my eyes and go to sleep, and I didn't know what would happen. So I told them, I said, yo, I think I need a doctor. And so he was like, there isn't any medical staff up here and it's getting dark. And at that point, your boy had to make a decision. We almost there, but I can't turn back. And so I gotta push through. And so, Lord, I channeled every bone in my body, every ancestor to try to make it up that hill. And so I got in my mind, like, let's get it, bro. And so I got my shit, I picked up my sticks and started, trudging along the trail. Now, what was supposed to take us about, on average, I think folks do it in about 5. It took me about closer to 6, but I was able to make it. I made it to base camp. So as I'm walking up to the base camp, I get there, I can see the base camp, but it's about another maybe 40 yards, but the incline is just straight up and the sand is going up to the base camp. So I'm down here looking up, like, damn, I don't know if I can get up there. And so I had to like just get my mind right, talk to myself. I said, let's go. So as I start walking up, I'm taking a step forward and I'm sliding 2 feet back. I'm like, what the hell? But then I hear the volcano start erupting and everybody's cheering up there. And I'm like, oh shit, like the volcano's going off. Like, I got to see this. This is the whole reason I came up here. And so I'm digging deep. I'm falling everywhere. Well, I'm not, I fall, but like I'm just like sliding everywhere. And I'm sticking my hiking sticks in the ground and trying to stabilize myself. And so I finally like get up there and I'm just so out of breath. So it took me about another just 15 minutes to collect myself. I saw a chair over there. I went right to that chair. I took my bag off, my back. Dude was asking me what cabin I was sleeping. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just sitting down in the chair. And I got to see Volcano Fuego erupt. And the views from there were extremely crazy. I've never seen nothing that amazing in my life. And the views from there, seeing the volcano erupt, seeing the cloud of ash, seeing the lava roll down the side of the volcano was amazing. And so, side note, when you hike Acatenango, that is the a dormant volcano next to Volcano Fuego. And Fuego is the active one that goes off maybe every 15 to 30 minutes. Now, another thing too to keep in mind is that I was glad that I went when I went because some folks had went last year and they said that Fuego wasn't erupting. So they were going up there and yes, it's great views, you can see it, but it just wasn't erupting. We get to base camp, I'm chilling. I just sit in the chair, I close my eyes. I had to say a little word of prayer, y'all. And as I'm sitting there, I'm just kind of reflecting as much as I can about what I just did because I still can't believe it. Would I do it again? Hell no. And so waiting on dinner to get started, they started a fire. It's freezing up there at this point because now the sun that went down, the elevation is crazy. And so now we talking about near freezing temperatures up there and my clothes are soaked. So I got to change out my clothes real quick, muster up a strength, and I go hop in the bed and I take a nap for like an hour. End up waking up, they're like, hey, dinner's ready. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm feeling a little better, but I got a headache. My legs are still woozy. And like I don't want to eat, but I know I need to eat. So one of the homies that was hiking with us, she gave me some more meds. I took that, went over, got dinner, and just started drinking water. I felt a lot better. So after dinner, they gave us a choice. And they said, hey, you have now a choice to go walk, do a 3 hour hike over to Fuego and get a closer look at the volcano going on. Hell no, I was not doing that. And shout out to the overachieving motherfuckers that did do it, because I'm not doing it. So they went over there, and when they came back in the middle of the night, they were in the cabin, so they woke us up. And then they're talking about like, yeah, the hike was even harder because like it's dark, and then it's nothing but volcanic ash, so you're over there just sliding everywhere. But it was amazing, it was amazing. So I was like, cool, well, show me the pictures because I'm not going over there. And they showed us the pictures, and it was crazy, like how close they were, how dope the views were, and things like that. Well, mind you, they done came in, and it's like 12 o'clock in the morning now. So I'm trying to get some sleep because we gotta go down this hill in the morning. And we have some more people that they do a sunrise hike. So they came to the cabin a few hours later to get the folks at like 3 in the morning for the sunrise hike. And if you wanted to, you could take that hike. It's a better view to see the volcano erupting, and of course, you get to watch sunrise come up. And of course, I respectfully declined. Hell no. I'm gonna watch it from here when I wake up. So I didn't get much sleep. It was really cold in the cabin, and I woke up that morning. I was feeling a lot better after taking the meds and hydrating and getting my fluids in me. So got breakfast, opened up the door, and while I was waiting on breakfast, I got to see the volcano just going off. I mean, I feel like God did this big one because the volcano was just going off like doom, 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 doom. You could feel the earth rumbling underneath you. You could just see like the huge clouds of ash in the air and then the lava rolling down the hill. And it was amazing. So I did get some footage of that. And then reality set in. Hey, y'all, we got to go back down the hill. So as we're getting ready, pack all our stuff up, brush our teeth. There are no like showers up there. So you just rolling with the punches, put a little deodorant on and keep it moving. Get ready to go back down this hill. So I'm trying to get my mind right. One of the guys that was back there with us comes like, hey, my friend, we got to move pretty quickly today because we need to try to get down within 3 hours or so we don't miss our shuttle back. I'm like, bro, you don't get out of my face, man. I done hiked up this damn mountain. It took me 6 hours. I done got extreme elevation sickness. And now you in my face talking about missing the shuttle. Like, you can miss me with that shit. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I'm determined too, because all the homies on the trip are looking at me like, hey, like we're glad you made it. We were rooting for you. I'm like, I appreciate it. Going down, it's something to prove. That boy can do a little something. Oh, I put this 300 pounds gear. And so head down, like in the middle of the pack. Boom, hit the first checkpoint. I'm feeling good. Shoot, second checkpoint. I'm in the first half. I'm staying with the first group on the way down, so I'm doing good. Then we hit like a really steep part of coming down. What happens is that you have to really use your legs coming down to stabilize yourself. So it can be harder on the knees. You have to really use a hiking stick so you don't slip and fall. And the terrain is changing too. So with that, you really like are doing a lot with your legs. It's not as strenuous as going up because I didn't feel like it's out of breath. But once I got towards the bottom, my legs were just shot. Because you got to think, it took us 6 hours, almost 6 hours to get up to the top the first day. And then now we're talking about another 3.5 to go down. So, and this, you're running on no sleep pretty much. I'm doing pretty good. As we start to get to the bottom half, the terrain changed. So we get them steps. The steps just took it out of me. Like, I don't know why them steps hurt going down like that, but they hurt way more going down the steps did at the bottom. And then there's this sand area before you get right down to the bottom bottom. I bust my ass a couple times. And everybody like, are you okay? You okay? I'm in there, I'm mad as hell. Y'all like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Just tired of falling. In my head, I'm like, get me off this damn mountain. And so boy does pretty good. I make it with the rest of the pack in the middle of the pack as we get to the last checkpoint, and we just chill out there for probably about 30 minutes. But at this point, it's cold, we tired, we ready to roll. So now I'm going to the instructor like, hey, bro, you ready? We stopped there, said the bus is gonna be here. What's up? So he's like, yeah, we leaving a few, amigo. I'm like, all right, bet. End up going down that last little stretch, and I just remember that sister I saw when I was coming up and she was going down. I had that same look on my face. People like looking at me, and I ain't saying shit. I'm just like in my head, y'all don't know what y'all just got yourself into, but I'm gonna pray for y'all. But yeah, your boy did it. I challenged myself. I'm extremely proud of myself. I pushed myself to the limit. Will I do it again? Hell no. But I'm glad to have that experience. Guatemala was an amazing country that I will actually go back to. I want to go back and explore Lake Atilana. I want to go down and explore the coast as well. And so it was an amazing experience. I learned a lot about myself and I was able to really just, push through. Cause sometimes, your boy, sometimes, I've been looking at myself like, yeah, like you don't move like you used to, but this body still got a little going. And so I'm super, super excited about this upcoming year because that hike really set the tone for me. And Travelhourljm fam, if you're thinking about doing the hike, just do your research on it. And I think it's really just paying attention to the facts. One, you want to be prepared going up. So having all the things that you need. Number two, social media can be kind of tricky because with social media, you might watch a reel and this person is up there dying from elevation sickness, but they got a happy ass song in the background. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I got sick. That doesn't put into context of what it's gonna feel like to do a hike that strenuous. And even after doing more research after getting off the mountain, y'all, they compare this as one of the hardest 10 hikes in the world. And it's actually comparable to like going to the base camp in Mount Everest because it's so steep and it descends so fast. A lot of people get sick and because of the terrain. Your boy did do Acatenango. We did Guatemala. It's a dope country. Travelhourljm. Want y'all to stay safe out there. And always remember, tap in with us on socials and anywhere that we're streaming on all major platforms. And just remember, the world is yours.